Welcome to MindBody TV. I'm Dr. Kim Duramo. I'm glad to have you here. I'm going to be sharing a really deep and essential topic today, as well as some ways to really access your power anytime, anywhere, right now, in the most important ways. I am really excited to share this topic. Jess and Alicia, who are the MindBody mentors, working with people one-on-one in our business, I've really been seeing a lot of this come up in the MindBody community in Facebook, which is our free community. If you haven't joined there, you want to join. And that's where there's a lot of despair coming up. And it can be so overwhelming when we feel that level of grief. And especially with despair, where it's like, it's a pathologic thing. It's seen as like a disease, that you have depression or you have something wrong. And the issue really is that we just haven't learned to move it. We haven't learned, how do I move through this? How do I express this, which is what lets energy and emotion move, versus how do I get rid of this? And that, it will always stay in place. What you resist persists. And then you're never free. And then you develop this like condition where it's like, I have depression, or I have a disorder. And, there's like a new disorder every moment created just to try to keep up with how many ways things get out of alignment when we avoid the now. When we don't want to feel what we're experiencing, we don't want to experience what we're feeling, we avoid the now. So welcome. I'm so glad to have you here today. And I'd love to hear where you're tuning in from, whether you're here on Instagram or in YouTube or the MindBody community in Facebook. We're broadcasting in several areas. So be sure to subscribe in YouTube, share this video with anyone that you love, invite them to be here. This can change their lives so profoundly. Hello, Mary Kay Guys from Southern California, Heidi from Colorado, Louisa from Montreal, JP, Jaria from Vancouver, Merns from South Africa, Cape Town, Rebecca from the Netherlands, Malva from Sweden. I love when we have such an eclectic group from all over the world. Someone in Facebook from California, Sheila from Calgary, Cindy from Tennessee, Philippa from Alberta, Susan from Norway, Emma from Ibiza. Woohoo, I've always wanted to go to Ibiza. Maybe I will someday. Leanne, great to see you. Stephanie from Germany, Brooke, Diane from Los Angeles, Aspen from Massachusetts, Fiona from Ireland, Joy of Being You, London, Ontario. Awesome. And everyone else who is joining in. Kim from Durango. Who is from Durango? Hello. It says Facebook, so I don't see a name there. Missouri, Oklahoma. Awesome. I love you guys. Thank you for being here. And Sedona, Mary. Great to see you. Okay, so I want to first talk about freedom, because meeting the now, meeting the despair, fear, powerlessness, like whatever it is we're avoiding, actually creates more freedom. And just like Kyle C said the other day, he did a clip and I watched it, and he was talking about September, is you are free in September. Like September is when you set yourself free. And I watched it and immediately texted him and said, you're right on. You're exactly right on with your message and your theme for the month, because I'm seeing it myself personally, and I'm seeing it in everybody that I'm working with, that it's like, go free or go home, get free or suffer. And the suffering is going to intensify to the degree that we're holding ourselves captive, we're holding ourselves prisoner, or where our freedom is conditional. So I had to look at this over the last month of a lot of stuff coming up with me where I didn't feel free, where I didn't feel a sense of serenity. And like a lot of things were coming up that had me note these places in me that were contracted. So I'm going to talk a little bit about my personal journey with this, and then like guide you through opening into your now and your freedom unconditionally. So what I have come to do is really, I guess, be like a student of life and be receptive to my experience of what's happening instead of making it wrong, only because I've realized that every time I make it wrong, it kicks me in the ass and things amplify, and it's like things get more contracted. So it's not because I am some special thing or completely enlightened. It's because I've paid attention enough to see that when things come up and intensify or something triggers me and I feel contracted, it's a gift. And if I see it as a curse or I try to fix it, and, oh, why is this happening, and make it go away, I'll just continue to stay contracted. And so we eventually start to receive life instead of resist it, because we know it's more fluid. So when this started happening, after getting back to Durango, we had an amazing summer away. It was one that I enjoyed more than any other time of my life, probably, for like that long a period. And I am the kind of person where it's not like, well, yeah, you were on the beach, of course you were happy. Like for me, it was always sort of the oxymoronic, like more stuff would come up when I'd be free on vacation, when I'd have time. I'd feel more contracted. I'd feel more of whatever I had suppressed, versus like being in a routine and in my structure and working and maybe distracting. I would have the ability to like feel more fluid. It just wouldn't, maybe I'm like avoiding some of those deeper spaces. So when I'd be in this like amazing place and it'd be like, I'm supposed to be having a good time, what the hell is wrong with me? That's when a lot of things would come up. And until I really learned how to welcome those energies and how to move through them fluidly, things would be really glitchy. And I was so grateful to be in a place where I let myself enjoy, and there was so much gratitude, and there was so much expansion, and just feeling like an unconditional presence. So it was awesome. And then coming home, what I saw was some of the structures I'm in, or like how I'm doing things, were not actually my highest, were not the fullness of me or the authentic choice. It was a little bit of like the program, like, okay, maybe how much I'm working is like, some of it is to try to get ahead, or some of it is to try to be better, or some of it is to try to, feel better. I don't know, like make something happen, as opposed to just the organic of like, I am doing what I love and this is how much I want to do it. So even if it was only 2% or 5% more than organic, what it would be organic, it felt like excruciating, okay, pain. And so that little bit of where I wasn't fully aligned with my organic or with my authenticity, it's going to let that despair come up. It's going to let that inadequacy or fear or whatever's there that's being avoided come up to be seen. And so for me, what came up was, and this happened over the summer trip, that something came up between my husband and me. And I realized like, I've got to meet this grief. And it was grief over an old relationship that had meant so much to me, but then like that person walked away, and there was still these feelings of like, I have no worth in your world. I am not valuable. I'm not loved. I'm not valued. Right. So you can see like anywhere I'm still living in that world, I'm not fully showing up in my world where I am valued and I am loved. And I have a partner who completely adores me, accepts me, and has space for all of what I am. And so I'm like in this place where like, what did I leave back there? What do I have to do to resolve that? And what I realized was it was tied into more of a primary relationship, which kind of like a lot of things are, right? Your upbringing, your parents, maybe major players in your upbringing, but where who I am was not loved, valued by this person in my life. And so it kind of brought me back to that. So I went back to the core of that and all of the despair and all of the grief. And I cried and breathed and sobbed and just like let it all in. But you can't let it all in if you don't have an outlet of expression. So like making noise, like whatever it wants to sound like. Despair, grief can sound kind of ugly. But when you're doing the sound, it actually feels really good. So if you're with a person and you're like, I'm sorry, you won't let that out. If you're like, they're going to think I'm weird. But for me, where I'm in this amazing relation with my husband, and he can just hold space for me, he's like, more, show me more, keep going. Yes, you're doing it. he could feel the authenticity of that expression. So we did this amazing partner exercise, and I could thrust out all this really deep, deep grief, really deep, deep despair. And I felt, well, let me just go to what I first felt. I felt so awful and so like, how could this possibly be a good thing? But over the next several hours, I felt amazing. I had some of the best days I've ever had in my life with enjoying my son and being so present to him and so present to like the freaking joy and gratitude that I have this little being in my life, and I could like spend, you know, the afternoon with him, and we did this super fun thing together, and I was just in awe and joy and gratitude. So this was last week, after, like I said, days of having that despair and that grief really come to a head, and little ways of like, I'm trying to avoid it. I'm waiting for it to just pass, but I had to drop into it. And so when I did, the freedom is unconditional. Like I am free to express whatever the F is here, no matter what that looks like, no matter what that feels like, no matter what it sounds like. And I'm making space for it. And I have others in my life who can make space for it. And it's unconditional. I feel free, even if there's despair. I feel free, even if there's grief. I feel free, even if there's just a dense heaviness of oppression that I don't even know what it is. I feel free. So now freedom goes from being conditional. Sometimes I feel it, sometimes I don't, to unconditional. And that is what we're all moving into right now. It's just about September 2022. Hey, we're early. It's still August, right? So like we're in the advanced group. But seriously, you may be feeling the compression of where your life has accelerated, or the energies and the Schumann frequency of the planet have accelerated to a higher level of freedom than what your structure, your system, your body, your regularly scheduled life has allowed. And so you'll come into that, and maybe it's like, oh, I said it a few weeks ago when I went to this yoga class on a Sunday, and they said, don't let Monday ruin your Sunday. And I was like, oh God, is that the reality we're in? We were in Boston at the time. Is that the reality? We're so in that reality that it's just like a known thing that Monday is going to suck, but hey, don't let that ruin Sunday. That like, it's a known thing. Everyone's going to go do this thing they hate in their work on Monday, but hey, it's still Sunday. And I just felt like a little bit of sadness that like, yeah, we're kind of still in that world where that's like kind of a norm. So what was the point I was making there? When you come into those structures, whether it's your work, like, oh, I got to start another week of Monday, or your family structures, like, oh, we got to get X, Y, and Z done, or whatever it may be in your life that's bringing you down, invite that, because it's showing you where you, in your being, in your body, are holding a contraction that's not letting that energy move out. And so that's the first point I wanted to make, is like, we are moving from conditional to unconditional freedom. And anywhere you're not allowing that, you're going to begin to feel the contraction, or maybe like the excruciating agony of holding that. So like, what am I holding on myself, right? Where am I still participating in the world of my value is conditional, my worth is conditional, to my worth and value is unconditional. And so in that world, for that person, my worth is conditional, right? If I look pretty, if I have, this kind of success, if I, am this astute, educated person who's got a good career, well, then I'm worthy and valuable. And I really didn't see where I was still like participating in that reality. Like, but hey, even if there's even just 2 cells in my body vested in that win, I'm going to feel the pain of that. I'm going to feel because where we're going, you want all parts of you on board. You want all parts of you in the true foundation. My worth and value is unconditional. My freedom of who I am is unconditional. No matter what it looks like, no matter what it sounds like, I'm going to express my now. Okay, so the second point is that your power is in your willingness to meet the now. Okay, so body only lives in the now. It can't live in the future. It can't live in the past. When you begin to feel and sense and drop into your body, you're going to feel the now more fully. And if what's here is like unresolved grief, feelings of fear, despair, inadequacy, blah, 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 like what is going to come up first is what has been suppressed the most. And you're probably not suppressing that much of like joy and gratitude. You're probably not suppressing that much of like, I don't know, hope. you may be suppressing a whole freaking ton of grief and despair because it maybe was too big when this thing happened. I couldn't handle it. So, I had a friend who sort of like tragically lost a cousin who was the same age as herself, a young person. And she said, well, I'm just going to work really hard. I just jump right into work and I'm just going to keep myself busy. And I thought like, oh, that's your way of coping. That's your way of dealing with the grief, is to just suppress it and skip it. And do you really think like maybe a month later, it's not, you don't need as much distraction. Maybe you're like, oh, I'm kind of over it. Do you really think it went anywhere? Do you really think that grief isn't still here? And so if you feel into for yourself right now, what do you feel when you drop into the now? What do you feel? So if you just like lift up your shoulders and then relax, take a deep breath, bring your presence to a sensation. I'm not saying what you think. Oh, I feel so happy. I guess things are pretty good in my life. Like actually have an experience. Experience is the sensual. What do I taste? What do I hear? What do I touch? What do I see? What do I feel? And share with me what you notice as you start to drop in, and keep the drop in just very simple. Some people are much more adept at this. Maybe you've been in the Embracing Health program or other work I've been doing, or done some of the online courses that we have, and you're practicing this, right? The Instant Elevation has like a whole bunch of tools to practice dropping into the now, dropping into your body, accessing your power. But if you're new or you're just finding my work, just keep it really simple, right? Like take a breath, hi body, here I am. And then begin to feel and sense your breath and feel and sense your body. And you're going to have sensation. Cool and calm. Awesome. Hold on a sec. Tears and grief that seem to never end. Okay, good. And the seem to never end is a thought. The sensation is the tears and grief that is so unthinkably deep. So then the mind will go, that means it will never end. But that's just an idea. So keep the sensation pure, because that will actually really serve you. Sometimes when I meet really deep despair, the thoughts that go with it are, I'll always feel this way, or I've always felt this way. It's always here. And those are actually just ideas that are not true. But if you feel the moment, it's just, whoa, this is like unthinkably intense amounts of despair, fear, grief. Mary Kay, guys, I can't even name it. Esther, terrible fatigue, heaviness in my chest, anger, trapped, limited. Good. So are you willing? And you could just say on a scale of 1 to 10, how willing am I to have the experience I'm having? Maybe it's like a 2, right? If 10 is 100%, maybe you're a 2. But just remember that my willingness to meet the now is where I access my power, is where I allow all things to transmute back to wholeness, is where I allow my system to create my heaven on earth, peace, freedom, serenity, instead of I'm in jail, I'm stuck. So if you remember that, like, whoa, as I meet this now, it unlocks this potential. Okay, maybe I'm 2% more willing to meet this now. Tightness near my diaphragm and chest. I want calm and cool, but the grief is for sure there. I misunderstood. Yes. So good. Oh, okay. Yeah. So good. And it's not exactly calm and cool. It's grief. I got to do something to support this phone. Oh, sorry. There we are. Okay. So didn't mean to do that. Hold on here a sec. There we go. All right. The phone gets like super hot. So I think I'm going to do this. If you guys don't mind me taking a little hiatus. And that's the best we're going to do here. Okay. So feeling into the actual now versus what the mind wishes was here in the now, or wants to show up in the now. What is here now? Your body will not lie. There we go. Your body will show you, even if it's like, no, I don't think I've never had that. That's not me. I watched the movie The Peaceful Warrior again, like 5 more times, and I love that movie. And there's a part where the main character starts like weeping and weeping, and there's so much grief. And he says, "This is embarrassing. I don't cry." And then the Nick Nolte's character who plays the guru was like, "Apparently you do." And so sometimes just being open to like, well, maybe I actually do also have this feeling or this, this experience. So let in an experience, even if you don't think you're supposed to. I feel tension in my pelvis. So it's time to let go of doing what I think I should be doing to feel worthy. Yep. That's what came up for me, were these little bits of nuggets that I didn't really see, where there was a layer in my life, in my work, in my structure of like what I'm doing that kind of kept me trapped. So instead of like, I'm going to take this whole day off and go to the hot springs with my son, and like, that's all I'm going to do, I'm not even going to think about anything. It would be like, oh, let me make sure I do this first. Oh, let me make sure I do that. And I would kind of check out a little bit. So not fully in the, what would be my joy that's actually available, and not fully choosing that because of these layers. And so these energies, I'm telling you, unacknowledged, they freaking run your life. And you drop in, you're like, whoa, there's some tension in my pelvis. I guess I get to that later. No, breathe it now. Just 3 breaths can be enough to begin to move that energy. A pit in my stomach. Hello, Kelly. I feel lost and it feels like panic. Yes. So exactly, everyone. Yes, exactly that. Maybe you feel it in a location, like Kelly is, it's in her stomach. Here, over here, sweet peace, medicine bee, back, neck, and head tension. Everyone's feeling in a different location, or it may just be like someone said, I can't even name it. So maybe it doesn't have a place. It doesn't even have a name. Okay, breathe into that. And you're just going to let yourself soften the body. The more you soften, the more energy will transmute for you. And let the breath come. So let the breath come through you and beyond you. And in a very subtle way, just invite, I say yes to this sensation. I say yes to this experience. Now, I want to reiterate what I said a few minutes ago. We can't open ourselves to further sensation if we aren't also opening ourselves to further expression. Meaning, if I'm feeling that much freaking pain, I can't just sit here and go, oh yeah, I'm doing the work. It's yeah, oh yeah, there's stuff coming up, and like hold the tightness as if everything's okay. Like if I'm actually going to feel and experience the depth of my pain, it may look a lot more messy. It may sound really ugly. It may be like, it may be choppy. It may be uncontrollable. Yes, that. And if you just, because all you really need is you to give you the permission. I mean, sometimes use a pillow if you're like, but everyone else is home and they'll freak out. So use a pillow. And if it's really that restricting, use a pillow and imagine amplifying the scream 100x beyond what you actually allow. Like if you just go, and not a lot of sound comes out, but you allow it as if you are letting the sound come out, that can help as well. But honestly, like if you got the space, make the space and just freaking scream. It doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. It feels overwhelming. What feels overwhelming is to try to control it. It's not overwhelming. You actually have the hardwiring to let it 100% all move. You have the hardwiring, you have the technology to let 100% of it move. You just think you don't. I mean, I know, because, oh my God, you guys, being so energy sensitive, everything was overwhelming. And so I saw a friend at the lake the other day, and there was so much tension in her body. And that's what she was doing. It's like, oh, it's so good to see you, Kim. Wow, it's so great to see you. But I could feel the tension, and it actually ignited this stuff arising in me. This was the day of the big screaming extravaganza that we had that session that night. Or it wasn't really screaming, it was just crying and like waves of upheaval. It was a mix of everything. But that day, there was like one more thing that happened that triggered wherever I'm doing that, wherever I'm living that, wherever I'm holding the tension because I don't give myself full permission to be the expression of what I'm actually feeling. Because you know what I was actually feeling, like my whole life, was made to be wrong. Like it was so wrong. Like you shouldn't be feeling that. You should be happy. You shouldn't be having da 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 da. You shouldn't be depressed. You shouldn't be, sorry, you should be this. And it wasn't a match. What I thought I should be or was told I should be wasn't a match for what I was actually feeling. And so then if I keep buying into that, I'm just going to keep suppressing. And we can get so good at suppression. In fact, I encountered someone today who was so good at suppressing that she kind of almost convinced the whole group, like, I'm good. I'm blessed with a sunny disposition and it's all awesome. And there was so much, when you dropped in and listened to this person speak, you could feel like you're getting punched. It felt like an energetic heaviness and a punch. And so what's actually there versus what someone's saying could be totally different things. And so as children, we're super energy sensitive. The kids would be like, I don't like that person. I don't want to go near them. No, that's a very nice person. You're wrong, right? And so we train the kids to or not in this case, to suppress what they know and go for what we're telling them is true, which is like, why do we do that? But what if we validated what we know and cultivated the refinement of it? Then we could just begin to trust ourselves and trust what we feel and not have to buy into the thoughts or, even our own stories about them. I used to scream in my car. Yeah, Sheila, when I was alone, I used to be helpless to take my frustration. I do not do that anymore. Yeah. And for people, like when you drop in, that may not be what's there at all. What's there could be this unbridled joy that you just never really let in fully. What's there could be sadness, could be anger, could be gratitude. It could be anything, but it's the energy that's going to set you free. And so when you meet the now here, what needs to come up so that you are more free is what will come up. And it's not up to you to decide what that's supposed to be or what it should be or what you want it to be. Let it be what it is, and then sort of align with what it is. Like the best thing I could feel right now is this despair that's coming up. The best thing I could express right now is this fear that's arising. Why is it the best thing? Because it's what's here. It's going to deepen you. What if you feel the need to release, but you're in a public place? So there's a lot of ways you can release. And, I'll do some EFT tapping and you could keep it subtle. I don't usually worry about if I'm just like, I don't really care what anyone around me thinks because they really probably aren't thinking about me anyway, or they might be like, that's interesting. I'm curious about that. So I don't, but if you want to keep it subtle, just kind of like take one little point or do the side of the hand. Kim, I notice what's coming up and I love you and you're allowed to feel this. I notice what's coming up and I love you and it's okay you're sensing this because it's what's here. So you've got havening. So you just like moving the energy through your body. So beautiful, right? Just like you're washing your face. And that's a really easy thing to do in public. So you do like a few of them here on the face. And then you're on your neck. If you're listening to the podcast, I'll try to describe it. It's like you're washing your face from the midline out and then down the neck. And then the second piece is from the back of the shoulders. So you start where you left off all the way down your arms. So you just cross your hands and touch your hands on the opposite shoulder and then just run your hands all the way down your arm a few times. This moves energy. And then the last one is cleaning off your hands, just like you're wiping one hand against the other. You can just give it a little shake. Energy moves through. So the third thing I wanted to share is that there's a vast difference between explaining what you're feeling and expressing what you're feeling. Explaining what you're feeling is like, oh my God, it's so big. I don't know what to do with it. And I'm afraid. And you're trying to help someone understand it, but it will never do the same thing. Expressing that same thing could look like, right? One kind of keeps us stuck in it because what we're actually trying to do is avoid it. and the other moves it without explanation, without understanding, without anything else required. It may be a little inconvenient. So find a subtle way, like maybe you just kind of shake your body, or you find time when you get home out of that public place and you're like, let me drop back into that. What does it have to show me? And you find expression. So those are kind of the three pieces, like conditional versus unconditional freedom. Anywhere you're in conditional, it could be very excruciating right now. Where am I not fully free to be and express all that is actually here in me right now? By not even dropping into it in the first place and doing the like pace to smile, I'm happy, but is what I'm feeling actually joy? I don't know. Check in. The second thing is your power is in how willing are you to meet the space of now, right here. It's all in you. And then expressing versus explaining what's happening. And my daughter had a moment of this last week. She was really nervous to start school because it's a new school, and she's with, well, you know, she had been with these kids before. So there was also like, it's new, but they already know me in a way too. And there's so much nervousness. And so, of course, we talked to her like, you know, everybody's feeling nervous. It's a big deal, and just breathe through it. But something was really, really deep coming up in her. So at one point, my husband and I were in the car with her, and he got out to go mail something. And so she and I were sitting there, and she's like, Mom, it's just so big. It's just, and she's trying to explain it to me. I said, Gemma, don't describe it. I'm right here with you. Show me. I don't know how. I mean, she's 10 and she was really hysterical. And I said, show me, make a sound. And she just went into it and went, and it was this deep guttural shrieking, whatever it was, that most people would really shudder to see your kid in that kind of pain. Like, no, I have to stop this. There's something wrong. Let's medicate her. Let's therapize her. Like anything but that. And I didn't do that, right? And she did this huge thing. And I said, great, breathe, keep breathing, show me more. And that was kind of the bulk of it. And then she's like, I don't feel any better. So, you know, we went through that moment, and I'm like, I know something very, very significant moved. And it was just a few hours later. And she said, Mom, I feel better than I've ever felt in my life. And I feel so free. She's 10. And she said, I think that I really needed that. So how much space can you make for what wants to express in you? And you guys, it may not look like that. Like, I'm not saying go find your despair and now you've unlocked your potential. Like, there may be no grief in this system. It may not be there. What is there is what will reveal itself to you when you drop in. Is there sadness? Is there compassion? Who knows what's there? But when you drop in, this is where you'll access your power. And just like me, when I did the expression and all that, like, Gemma didn't feel better right away. It wasn't like, oh, I'm so glad we did that. It was hours later that she felt such a huge amount of freedom, but it was a deeper clarity and a deeper solid. It wasn't like, okay, I feel better now. I'm not having that panic attack anymore. I'm good. Where you're like, okay, but it's going to come back. Are we just managing this, or are we actually moving this? So, that's what I've got. That's what I've got for today, is like, where is my path to freedom? And 1 to 10, how willing am I to allow myself to be totally free? Maybe, you know, maybe it's a 10 for you right now. You're like, I'm all in. I'm feeling my pain. I'm feeling the pain of not letting myself live freely. And I'm feeling the pain of like buying into but I can't have it because, or maybe that's not where you're at all. Maybe it's like, whoa, I can't be free. You don't understand my plight. I have to do this job I hate. I have to, you know, my narcissistic husband, or my condition, or my blah, blah, blah. So you're like, maybe I'm a 6, right? It's conditional. Be where you are. Just be there consciously. Because if I'm conscious that I'm a 6 out of 10 willing to have unconditional freedom, I'm not going to be so pissed that I only have 60% freedom in my life and I'm like 40% feeling like I'm in jail. That's my willingness. So at least I'm a match. I'm not going to be so frustrated. Out of 10, I'm a 5. I'm so scared. Yes. So that's good. So meet your fear. Meet your fear. You don't need to make it wrong that you're not a 10. Just notice, okay, what does she need? Because that part in you just needs your presence, just needs your willingness to feel what you're feeling, to experience what you're experiencing. And ultimately, when we surrender that, we move through life constantly in the now, constantly accessing source, constantly creating from truth so that we manifest the abundant, authentic world. It's so clear. I've been allowing so much to come out and up. I'm no longer afraid of what's coming out. And that's what was stopping me, the fear. Julie, that's awesome. Kelly said 12. Hold on a sec. How much space can you make? Sweet pea medicine. Thank you so much. This is helpful. Consciously healthy, Emma. I used to scream in my barn on my 15-acre horse property. That's so awesome. I used to dance naked in my barn on my, I don't know, it was like an acre or two of land in Tennessee, because I just had to like get the energy out. I mean, I had all the doors closed and locked, but it was pretty freeing. That sounds like me, crazy. Saying yes, but sometimes still protests. Breathing helps me more. Like a deeply allowing yes without the words, my body is not okay with sometimes. Cold and clammy feet. Yep. Heaviness, pain in the joints and swollen legs. So what I needed today. Awesome. All right. I love you guys. We do have 2 things. We have the Be the Medicine program starting in just a few weeks. This is one of my most powerful ways I'm working with people live. It's a more intimate group. It's a 4-month journey. And what the Be the Medicine really is about is stepping into the full embodiment of the true self. Who am I truly? Knowing that, living that, embodying that, and then creating your life from that. There are a lot of people here, as we awaken, we realize I want to share a contribution with other people, whether it's in like the healing arts or it's in money or like any structure, art, music. I want to be a contribution, right? Because we're coming more into oneness consciousness and realizing like I'm connected with everyone and everything around me. As I give, I receive. And so there's this inspiration to move out of old structures based in fear, lack, and separation, where you're like, I'm not really making a difference and it doesn't fulfill me to do this work, to move into like, maybe you're inspired to do coaching and share some like amazing insight that's changed your life, or some kind of healing where you discover gifts and talents you have that maybe didn't make sense at first, but they're making a difference to other people, or other kinds of work to assist other people's healing, awakening, abundance. But what happens is when we begin to do that from the old structure of like separation, all the stuff we learn about like business and marketing, it's exhausting. Like if you're not everywhere, you're nowhere, or you have to do your marketing like this, or you have to make sure you fill your programs or get your clients or take on more clients so you could get more money. Like it's such a low frequency way to operate. And so for a lot of people, we're trying to do this really high frequency thing. And then all of this other stuff's like, ooh, that's pretty low vibe. So then we end up like maybe doing our thing, but we can't make a living at it, or doing our thing, but nobody really understands it. So it's not solidly created in the world, or doing our thing, but like, we don't really charge much money because it's like, this comes so easy to me, I shouldn't charge money. So we don't actually stand in a structure that really supports ourselves. And so a lot of people have amazing gifts, and then they don't know how to manifest at that level. And so what the Be the Medicine program is both to begin to embody who you're really here to be and then live that in your life. And then also to create structures, systems. If you are creating a business, create business systems that support you as well as the others you're working with. And so if that speaks to you and you're ready to step into a higher dimension of your living and your life, not just like, well, I learned about it over here in MindBody TV, and then I have to go like manage my life, but getting a hit is so good, and then I get through the rest of my week. No, what if you want to live there and you want to create there and you want to manifest your life there? This is why I've created the Be the Medicine program. The link to join is at drkimd.com/BTM. It is an investment that will literally change the course of your life. We have amazing testimonials from others who have been in the program and what they have shared. So that is on offer. That's available now, drkimd.com/BTM, if that speaks to you. If you have any questions, you can email us at support@drkimd.com. And then we have a webinar coming up where we're going to do a workshop on some of these principles of like, how do I embody the essence of who I am in my energy system, how it changes my brain, how it changes my physiology, how it changes what I create, and begin to step into that new life now. So that is a free workshop. It's on the 20th of September. And the link for the workshop is drkimd.com/workshop so that you can join that for free. So everyone is invited to that. Thank you guys. Beautiful. I'm glad. I love that. Thank you. Thank you. I feel your caring. Yes. Yeah. Kelly, as a child, I was punished for getting angry. It's still oozing out. Yes. So giving yourself space. You can be that space for that child in you right now. Nothing is stopping you. All right. I love you guys. I will see you each week for MindBody TV here live at 11 a.m. Mountain Time on Wednesdays. Join the MindBody community on Facebook if that speaks to you. Definitely like and subscribe in YouTube and share this video because there are so many people like we have not learned how to navigate that sort of like distinction of like, whoa, I'm vibing here, but my life is down here. I'm in pain. How do I move so that I let my life be manifested at the level of what I'm really ready to live, who I'm really ready to be? And you guys are all ready for it, or you wouldn't be here. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Lots of love. Yes, there is a link for the workshop, drkimd.com/workshop. I would love to work with anyone who is ready for the Be the Medicine program. We have a couple of people already registered, so I'm so excited to work with them. Whether you have already stepped into a business structure for coaching or healing or whatever, or you're just knowing like, whoa, I wonder if I could create something more expansive for myself and for others, this will be the program for you. So that's at drkimd.com/BTM. Thank you guys. I love you. I'll see you next week. Keep it up. Keep it up. Keep yourself in love and light. Bye.